We have a very illustrious panel to discuss that with, and so I will kind of step out of the way as early as I can. But let me just introduce them, starting with Ram, closest to me, and then working my way down. Dr. Ram Madhav is the president of the India Foundation, a prominent Delhi-based think tank. From 2014 to 2020, he served as National General Secretary of the BJP. He's also a prolific author of several books, including The Hindutva Paradigm and The New World, 21st Century Global Order and India. Next to him is Elizabeth Threlkeld, who is the Senior Fellow and Director of the South Asia Program at the Stimson Center, where she has worked since 2018. Before Stimson, she served as a Foreign Service Officer with the US State Department, where she was the recipient of the Superior Honor Award. And next to her is Dr. Kurt Campbell, who is the chairman and co-founder of the Asia Group. In government, he most recently served as the 22nd Deputy Secretary of the Department of State and served as the inaugural Indo-Pacific Coordinator, or Asia Czar, as it was often referred to in the press, at the National Security Council and Deputy Assistant to the President from 2021 to 2024. So we can't really find a much better panel to discuss this issue, and I just want to throw it to the panelists for a quick introduction. What's a 5-minute opener? What do you think is most important to get the U.S.-India relationship on track and to take it where it needs to go? I'll start with you, Ram. Sure, feel free, or happy to. Yeah, sorry, it's.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Friends, good afternoon. I know this is the most difficult session of the day, post-lunch. Let me start by reiterating what many speakers have said since morning, that this relationship is a very important relationship, but it's going to be a lasting relationship. There is no doubt about it. But let me do some frank talk here. Talking about future, we cannot ignore the present and talk about a rosy future. The relationship between our two countries stood on 3 verticals. One was geostrategic. We had great understanding about our geostrategic priorities. There was a broad alignment when it came to China, when it came to Islamic terror, issues like that. Today, it doesn't seem so anymore. We don't understand what are the geostrategic priorities of the US government now. Not just we. I don't hesitate to say even probably the NATO guys don't understand it. The Europeans don't understand it. The Quad doesn't understand it. Who understands it, really, we don't know. So one is that geostrategic pillar is shaking. Second is geo-economic relationship has been a very strong relationship between our two countries, especially in the last 20 years. We have invested heavily on that relationship. We built a strong bilateral economic partnership today, which is more than $220 billion today. And that relationship included defense relationship, IT relationship, and we have a very important intelligence sharing relationship. It's a very important relationship that we have built over the last 2 decades. That's on a very shaky wicket. Talking about economy, people sometimes tend to talk about the inflows of FDI from USA. Let me tell you, the inflows last year were about 5.6 or 6 billion. The outflows were 7 billion. We are also facing net negative FDI from the US. On economy, you have seen what all happened in the last 1 year, especially on the question of tariffs, on the question of many economy-related issues, how far we went. I mean, how bad this whole relationship became in the last 1 year is very well before us. We are looking forward to the trade deal, which is expected to be concluded in less than a month now. We are hoping that when Secretary Rubio visits India next month, we would have finally closed the deal, clinched the deal. That is a very important deal for us because we are hoping that we will have a better tariff regime in this new deal that is being finalized now. At least that's the feedback, that's the information we get from the government. The third important vertical or pillar has been the people to people, the diaspora relationship. This diaspora, at least in the last 15 to 20 years, has been playing a very important role in our relationship. I remember during the nuclear negotiations in early 2000, 2006 to 2009, diaspora played a very important role in strengthening the US position and, of course, position of the Indian government at that time. Although in opposition, we used to oppose the deal. Then community guys used to come and tell us that don't oppose it, it is in our interest for both countries. So since then, the Indian diaspora has been playing a very important role. But today, there is a lot of anxiety, lot of worries among the diaspora also. That needs to be taken seriously. I mean, when things like hellhole or things like, some kind of laptop wielding charlatans, these kind of things are said about the community gets worried. So I think these three pillars have to be very seriously taken for this relationship to go forward. I will suggest three things which are very important for bringing this relationship back onto what it used to be a couple of years ago, which unfortunately we used these 3 points for China. It in itself is a tragic commentary that I'm using them for America today. Those three are mutual respect. I don't want to go into what all happened, what all words were used, what all things are happening in terms of arguing one's case. But mutual respect is very important. Mutual sensitivity is important. When we said that we want multi-alignment, we were either ridiculed or frowned upon. Strategic autonomy was rubbished. But what is happening today? What US is doing is precisely the same. Because it is in your interest, you can go with so-and-so country, you can go with so-and-so country. You don't look at the sensitivities of other countries. Mutual sensitivity is another aspect that we have to take into account. And finally, mutual interests. On mutual interest, we have to build a consensus once again. On that, we have to work. When I said these things, I'm not trying to say that relationship is bad or it's diminishing or anything like that. I'm just cautioning that it's not enough to be goody-goody about the things. It is important to really look at what is happening in front of us, how we can correct them. One may say it's a passing phase. Countries do not have that luxury to take 4 years as passing phase. Contemporary challenges have to be addressed in order for the future to be good for both the countries. That's the reason why I thought we need to focus on these issues in order to ensure that the future trajectory will be a better one for our two countries. I will end here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. And thank you for the candidness when you are so badly outnumbered by Americans up here. And I also want to make clear, for what it's worth, we at Hudson, one of the primary pillars of our India work is a belief in the remarkable trajectory and future potential of Indian Americans. We are committed to building this relationship in which, on both sides of the aisle, Indian Americans have a major part to play in the future of Indian-American relations. Now, it looks like we have a pretty high degree of consensus about the turbulence we've experienced over the last year, and also the need to get this back on track, that it won't be immediate, that it's going to take time and effort and focus. I wonder if can we turn to the Strait of Hormuz, which has dominated the news cycle, and as so often happens in the United States, we get kind of tunnel vision on this particular situation and fail to kind of necessarily calibrate it with the partners we have and the partners we want to have. What does this ongoing situation say about the resilience or fragility of our relationship, and how can we be doing better vis-a-vis India with this ongoing situation? Anyone who would like to jump in is welcome.
India and US have strong bilateral naval relationship. We do joint exercises. We have a lot of knowledge sharing and regular interactions between our Indo-PACOM and Indian Navy and all that. But we always prided over the fact that the Indian Ocean has always been a region of peace. What we are experiencing today is not just about Hormuz. We have seen the southern Indian Ocean becoming a place for conflict. There was that reference to an attack on a ship. Diego Garcia in Western Indian Ocean became, again, a point of conflict today. Almost as if the entire region has been pulled into this conflict. That is certainly a matter of concern for us. Now, there is certainly a major conflict going on with respect to Iran. There are 2 or 3 parties in that conflict: the United States, Israel, and Iran. What will India do? What is Europe doing? What are other countries doing? That is what India will do. India would want those who started it to find an exit for it. Is there an exit plan? Now, about Hormuz, let the field marshals find an answer for you, a solution for you. As far as India is concerned, the widening of this conflict into Western Indian Ocean and coming right into the Southern Indian Ocean is certainly a matter of big concern. Let us confine it, find an answer to it, find a solution to it. And today, I respectfully take the view that this world order should continue. Everybody wants it. But does US want it? How much is US committed to upholding this world order? Where is that whole institutional process in taking certain steps and certain decisions and then trying to find answers to situations? So as far as India is concerned, for Hormuz crisis, we will find our way through negotiations, through dialogue, ensuring that our vessels pass through in that current stalemate. But beyond that, the enlargement of this whole conflict, the theater of this conflict enlarging right up to the entire Indian Ocean region will not be welcomed by India, obviously. Today, 2 countries in our neighborhood, Maldives and Mauritius, have become enemies overnight because of that Diego Garcia issue. So these things are certainly causing a concern. This expansion of this theater of conflict deeper into Indian Ocean is certainly something to be avoided. Thank you.
My question would be, it seems to me that U.S. and Indian interests in the Gulf area don't see any sign of coordination or consultation in the current crisis. Is this a conversation of thinking together about the Gulf? Is this a conversation that in your mind would be a useful thing to try to work on?
Before we get to it, let's also just take the last question there in the back, and then we can choose your poison, and we'll wrap it up there.
Thank you. 2 quick questions. Dr. Madhav, I think a lot of the conversation here has been about the politics of the relationship now in India and how difficult that's become. Could I ask you your sense of, over the next couple of years, some concrete suggestions about how you make the politics more unstuck? And Dr. Campbell, to you, your predecessor as Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman, made an extraordinary statement when she came to India saying that we are not looking to build a broad-based relationship with Pakistan, which is a fairly extraordinary statement. Now, when you see a lot of people who are tracking the US-Pakistan relationship, their sense is actually Pakistan has a decent shot of integrating itself much more into America's Middle East strategy. My fundamental question to you is a strong US-Pakistan relationship compatible with a strong US-India relationship?
Okay, so we've got actually 3 questions. Let's just go down the line with our final takes. I'll start with you, Ram.
No, as far as the Middle East is concerned, it is true that the region is very, very important for India, as it is very important for the US also. Between our 2 countries, there was a lot of coordination during Trump 1.0, during the and after the Abraham Accords, we had I2U2. We invested in what we called as IMEC, India, Middle East, Europe corridor. So there was great anticipation about the potential of the Middle Eastern region for India. And there we always saw the United States as an important partner. But last few months, the developments in the last few months have put a big question mark on both I2U2 and IMEC. We need to re-engage on these two issues. We have to probably redesign them. We have to make a few changes especially in IMEC. Nevertheless, it is very important that we don't just shelve them or just put them in cold storage. We have to engage at some level and try to revive these two very important initiatives that we took in last few years. India is certainly very keen. We are talking to some counterparts here also, whether we can at least do some academic exercise about what is the future of these two important initiatives that we took with regard to Middle East, where the Gulf region. As far as that question about politics in India is concerned, Indian politics is it's a democracy. Democracies are noisy. So we have a lot of noise about even the economic deal that we are trying to clinch with the US now. You have heard one of the panelists speaking about it, the questions that were there in the minds of Indian opposition. They are making it into a big issue in India, but that wouldn't discourage or desist the government from going ahead, because this relationship, as we all know, is a very important relationship, and especially this trade deal that we are almost on the verge of clinching. But I was told by very, I would say, responsible people that it will be done in next couple of weeks or before the visit of Secretary Rubio to Delhi. India is looking forward to it. The economic relationship forms the backbone or very important part of our relationship. Politics, domestic politics notwithstanding, government will go ahead with the relationship, with the agreement. Thank you.